personal channel.
Well,
So
I mean, you're gonna you're gonna do what I did, right? You're gonna post the like as you upload it, you're gonna post it in the community group thing.
yeah, that's what I do. So all right,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna start recording, start capture. Gotta wait for my capture program to catch up. Okay, let's see, top, middle, bottom, top, middle, bottom, bottom, middle, top.
I should probably
Stupid
lean
little
in
things like
so
that.
that I'm being captured at the best quality. Though, does this make a difference from over here?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Is this better leaning in?
Yeah, whatever that tapping is in the background, that's gonna need to probably stop.
Yeah, that's yeah, I'll turn that. Actually, I might as well just
Which
turn this
one's no? Which one's veteran?
muting.
Decisions.
Uh,
I think the top one's usually veteran, right?
I don't know.
Well, whatever. I guess we're gonna learn anyway.
Yeah, I guess I'll
I
just
don't
turn
think
my
they're gonna
volume
have.
down so low I can't hear it.
Oh, come on, cabbage card. All right. So weird seeing Japanese subtitles.
hmm You should try Super Metroid in Japanese.
Yeah, no, thank you. Okay, manly black person is narrating.
The what person is narrating?
Yeah, in the Japanese version of Metroid Prime, they have a narrator for the beginning portion.
Huh.
I always thought it was kind of interesting. And then once this part's done, I'm gonna double check the video just to make sure everything's capturing correctly. So,
hmm Okay.
because I don't want to get too far and then find out, oh wait a minute, something's not working.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because what fun would that be?
I think it'd be pretty fun. But then that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure that the people on the internet would love to watch this at half frames.
I mean,
And
I
that
offered
would be
to sell
amazing
you
with
my old HD
artifacts.
PVR.
Yeah, but that wouldn't solve anything. I'd rather get my Black Magic Intensity Shuttle.
Wait, really?
Hey guys, it's Matt, and I'm joined by my good friend Gilbert, and
Hello.
we're gonna play through the Japanese version of Metroid Prime for the Wii.
I should really not
Now,
be.
fun part is we're gonna have to change some settings really quick, and that's gonna be kind of problematic. Kinda. Nope, that's not it. I'm probably just gonna cut this part out.
Not working?
Oh, I can't find the setting. Not that one. Maybe it's this one. There we go. All right, ready to start?
Yep. Yeah, whatever.
I I can hear that button tapping like really loud.
Yeah, sorry. I'm gonna stop. Fucking prick, though.
By the way, 100% no scans. So,
You're not gonna scan?
yep.
Ah, lame.
All right.
Yep.
Do you want me to scan?
No, I mean, whatever. It's your thing. Whatever you want to do. I did my thing my way. You do your thing your way. That's only fair.
Alright. Alright, and we're back. Sorry about that. Just had to get past the stupid. It's really interesting because the Japanese version has free aim turned off by default. So yeah, running through Japanese menus trying to read to get free aim on is definitely not the most enjoyable experience.
Goddamn moon runes. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's definitely yeah. It's I definitely wanted to do this version, just because I thought it'd be different. Yeah, because everyone does like, oh, it's either the GameCube or the trilogy version, but no one ever really does this version of the game.
Yeah, people are lame.
Yeah, and there are some real, differences. Not like gigantic, oh my gosh, they got the better version of the game, which I definitely don't think is true. But there are definitely some differences.
I am
So
unaware
anyway,
of
yeah.
these differences.
All right, well, I guess you're gonna start seeing them. Um, Anyways, I definitely love how this game just kind of throws you right into the action. It's not like, oh, you're just like landing on a planet like, most of the other games. No, it's you're on a, space station that's pretty much been ravaged by weird mutant creatures.
Super Metroid. Excuse me. Mm.
Except for those were not weird super mutant creatures. But yeah, I mean, it definitely does have that, you know, Super Metroid feel to it.
Yep. Well, I mean, it's like I said in my uh yeah, it was a video I made about why Retro Studios should not make Metroid Prime 4. And, you know, I said one of the reasons this game is so good is because it's essentially a 3D Super Metroid. I mean, a lot of the areas are
Mm-hmm.
similar. You start on a space station that's been just, torn to shreds.
I mean, like, just look at here. One of these creatures broke out of this tube here and plowed its way through that wall down there.
Yeah, yeah,
And two of them actually broke loose. So that was one back there. Where's the other one? That kind of feeling.
yeah. You got creatures in tubes, like the infant Metroid.
Lots of creatures in tubes. And that's probably an understatement. And just so you know, one-time scan right here. If you do not get this, you will not complete your logbook.
I'm pretty sure you can get that after the frigate crashes, though.
Nope, because all the terminals are powered off or destroyed. So,
Hmm.
trust me, I've tried. Oh, yeah, just a funny little Easter egg. I hate these things with a passion, but they did, I
Power
guess, make
hoppers.
their appearance a little bit in Metroid Prime, even though you didn't really see it.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of enemies they had to sort of rethink for Metroid Prime.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not sure how those would have fit in.
well, I mean, they do fit them in eventually in Metroid Prime 3. There are the hoppers.
Yeah, but they're not the same.
No, I know. Um, I mean, that is true. And they are in Metroid Prime. Or, no, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
not Metroid Prime, Other M. That's I was thinking Other M. I don't know why I said Prime.
yeah. But Other M feels a lot more like the original games. By the way, I really do feel bad for some of these guys. 'Cause just reading some of the scans on how they died and stuff. It seems like they faced like the most gruesome deaths possible.
Oh, there are worse deaths. I mean, it's
Oh
just the
yeah,
way it's described.
yeah.
But I mean, where I feel bad, it's like I come upon an injured one, I scan him. It's like threat level minimum. This creature has suffered brain trauma. It's like, oh great. So
Now I
I'm
have to kill
about to
it.
kill a brain damaged patient. Somebody who has literal
Pretty
brain
much.
damage. Well, he is a space pirate, so I guess I'm okay with that.
Yeah, it's just like, oh man, you because it's like you can't help but feel bad.
It's like, yeah, I do kind of feel like it is wrong to kill someone who's suffering from brain damage, but at the same time, they're also evil.
Yeah. Well, oh, have you ever wondered if space pirates are not like if some of them aren't evil, they're just following like the propaganda, or they're being forced to do this by their
Well,
society?
well, the way the space pirates are described in the manga, I don't think there is such a thing because, I mean, they are a race of, you know, sentient bugs essentially. Uh, and like bugs, though, I mean, even though they look like mantises, I guess in a way they're more like ants, where they will, obey the they'll still obey a queen or just someone who's very powerful.
That was fast. Anyway,
Yeah.
yeah,
Wow. Are you sure you're on veteran?
I thought I was on veteran, but I don't think I'm on veteran. So this is gonna go by pretty quick then, because the missile glitch just totally wiped that thing out in a matter of seconds. And I have
Yeah.
two missiles left. Alright,
Wow.
well, I guess we're playing this on normal then?
I don't know. I mean, what? It's really easy mode. Veteran is normal mode. I mean, come on.
Yeah. There's Nintendo showing off the GameCube's particle effects again. They did that so much in this game. Like, it's just like, oh, hey, particle effects. Just let you know, we have some nice particle effects here. Oh, hey, look, there's some more particle effects. I'd say that was the GameCube's strong point. It really was.
Yeah. I mean, the GameCube was a really great little system.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
Most definitely.
it's pretty incredible what Nintendo was able to do with it. And yet it didn't sell well, which is too bad.
Especially because now looking back at it, a lot of people are like, well, see, all the best games were on the GameCube.
Yeah.
But of
That is
course, I guess the N64 was the same way. When it came out, no one really liked it. No one really liked the games that were on it. And now everyone's like, "We'll see the N64, Ocarina of Time. It's amazing."
yeah. Well, I think part of that is it's just like a lot of people who played the other systems weren't necessarily gamers. And
Yeah.
I don't mean that as like an offensive thing. It's like, oh, they don't play Nintendo, they're not gamers. But more like, they're, basically they got older and they don't have interest in gaming anymore. So they weren't, they're not really gamers. They stopped buying consoles. And they don't, I mean, they remember, the games they played on like the PlayStation 2 or the Xbox, but you know they don't necessarily have that nostalgia factor, that nostalgia for it. Um,
Mhm.
but uh, but the people who are still gamers were people who did get a GameCube and a Nintendo 64, and now they look back on that today and they're like, oh man, those systems were awesome.
Mhm. I mean, they definitely were. So, I mean, the GameCube gave pretty much revitalized Metroid in the way for us.
Yeah.
We had two pretty good Zelda games on it. It was pretty interesting. And then, of course, you have what everyone claims to be the best Super Smash Bros.
I mean, that was the first one I played, so, but I don't know.
Same here.
And I mean, really, it was only ever the second Smash Brothers game, so
All right. Now there's going to be a little difference here between the American version and the Japanese version. The suit actually talks to you. Like, you know how you'd have like the warning, like the text up here? The suit
yeah,
actually reads it out to you
interesting.
in English. which I
Yeah, I
just
mean,
like, hmm.
it's kind of funny. It's like that. I mean, they do that in other things in Japan too. Like they have it English and then they put subtitles.
Oh, hey, by the way, even though I know the ship's exploding, did you ever notice that there are windows here and you could actually see the explosions from the outside?
Oh wow, no, I had no idea.
Yeah, they're actually
It's like,
wind, and look, see, it's all open to the air, and it's all nice and it's really neat. I mean, I've always wanted to see what would happen if I maybe like
you
moon
know,
jumped out.
you're actually
Ship's
supposed
exploding. You
to.
might want to go.
That's weird because you were shooting out through there. Well, no, I guess you were in the
Yeah,
unpressurized section of this ship,
yeah,
or depressurized, I should say.
yeah. So it definitely is kind of interesting. I do love all the little space pirate bodies floating out in the space, though. That was a
Yeah.
good touch.
I mean, my going through there, my reaction was always, "Hey, ship's blowing up. Should probably leave like as fast as possible." Okay, let's go. Bye.
Nope, nope. I'm like, hey, look at these windows.
How much time I got left? One set. Oh, game over.
Darn it, those stupid windows distracted me.
Dang you, pretty skybox. Tracking on
Yeah,
enemy target has failed.
sadly, there's nothing to read that out, but oh well.
I mean, I was gonna try to, but I started too late, so the text disappeared, and I couldn't read it all.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
mean,
have
I
to
could do it.
absolutely say though,
Go ahead.
this is one of like the first wow moments that I had on the GameCube, where it was just like, okay, wow, this is really pretty.
Yeah.
When you
Well, I
first saw
mean,
Talon 4.
and I mean, in this game, graphically held up for a really long time. I
Hmm.
mean, it looked just as good as even a lot of early Xbox 360 titles.
Yeah,
I mean, they
and
just
I
did
mean,
such a good job with the engine.
yeah, I mean, and that's throwing it, just on the Wii or just on the GameCube. I mean, if you were to throw this in the Dolphin and
Oh yeah,
bump it up to 1080p,
yeah,
this game would look, absolutely amazing.
yeah. People have done incredible things with Dolphin.
Hmm.
Uh,
All right, well, I think we're going to probably call it for this segment, and then we're going to start up. And we're probably going to go and make it part of the way through the Chozo ruins up ahead. So, yeah, I guess until next time, we'll see you guys later.
yep. Check out the Metroid fanbase community on Google Plus.
All right, there's that. I'm going to stop the capture here. All right, now let me double check that video just to make sure everything's recording all right. All right, gonna have to fix that. It default recorded in 480p for some reason. I'm gonna bump it up to 1080p, but that's not too big of a deal.
Hmm. What capture device are you using?
The crappy Roxio Game Capture HD Pro.
Hmm.
All right, so now we already saved. Let me save again. Well, no, I'm not gonna save again just to make sure because that would mess up game time. No,
Well, who cares about game time?
I do.
I mean, okay. Let me make this point. Unless you're actually going to quit and okay, you are going to quit and restart.
Yep. Yeah, because every single time you load it up, and you know how it comes up with the text like Town Overworld or something?
Hmm. Yeah,
The
you want
narrator
that.
reads it off.
Uh, so you want the narrator to open every fucking video.
Yes.
Yeah.
That is how it must be.
By the way, I was thinking about mentioning that someone wanted them to make Metroid in Unreal Engine 4, like on the Google Plus community, but I
Ew.
decided I decided, like, no, I shouldn't mention that because I'm just gonna be like, that's a retarded idea. And if that guy watches this,
Yeah, it's not gonna happen. I know it's
I
not.
I mean, I know,
Yeah,
obviously it's not gonna happen.
that was a good 17 minutes.
I was
So
I was holding myself back when I responded to that. I just wanted to be like, no, are you retarded? Hell no.
I know, right? All right, top, middle, bottom, middle, top, middle, bottom. All right. But yeah, that was just dumb. I'm like, no, 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 no. It's not gonna happen, dude.
I just wanted to rail on him, but I was like, no, no, just
Just,
no.
just, just hold it back. Just hold back. I mean, I guess I guess I could see what he means. I mean, it is a decent engine, but no.
I mean, Nintendo's just gonna write something that's way better.
Hey guys, this is Matt,
And this is Gil.
and welcome to part two of our Let's Play of Metro Prime. And in the last part, we pretty much just went through the tutorial and exploded the space station. Yay!
Yay.
Well, frigate, technically.
Explosions.
But it was fun, and we blew up stuff, and there were explosions and awesomeness. Anyway, so in
Yeah.
this part, we're probably going to make it a little bit into the Chozo ruins. I'm not sure. I don't think we could probably make it to the Flagra, but if we do, it's going to be pretty interesting. And I'll be wondering how we got there that fast.
I mean, really, these parts can be as long as we want them. So if we want to make it to Flagra, we can make it to Flagra.
We could. I guess it's just going to all depend on what happens.
I've seen. I don't know why people. I don't know how this guy's videos have so many views, and I won't say who it is, but there's this one guy who has Let's Play parts that are over an hour long, and they've got thousands of views, and I'm just like, how and why? It is. I mean, seriously. I mean, this is YouTube we're talking about. People do not sit down and watch YouTube for an hour. I mean,
Well, I
normal
guess
people.
apparently they do. I guess
I mean,
apparently
honestly,
they do.
I've done that, but that was like several different videos.
Just so this gets out of the way. I am not tearing through the menus trying to find out how to turn off hint system. I'm sorry. Yeah, I mean,
Well, because I mean,
took long enough to find free aim.
isn't
I love the detail. Like this block fell from up here. This whole thing just kind of snapped apart. It's awesome
yeah?
amounts of detail.
I can't see that in the video feed I'm watching. In
Yeah,
fact,
he's watching in all negative colors, so he's not really sure what's going on.
oh, it's not all negative colors. It's just the TV and camera that I'm looking at are at odds, and my video feed
Yeah.
is cropped, and it is uh,
Reflections.
reflections. Yay! Yeah, that was pretty. That was one of the things I was like, "Whoa, my God, this is
No one does
amazing."
reflections.
Yeah.
Sadly, even today, not many people do reflections.
That's true.
It's rather sad.
I mean, I think it's because it's a detail that you
It's unneeded.
can not. It's just you can easily a player will easily miss it, you know. And it's one of those things where it's like, huh, I'm reflected in the water. Oh, that's nice, and then moves on.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, I guess I just like for the fact that it is added.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the big issue is that they get around the lack of reflections by having, I mean, in today's games anyway, by, for example, in like Watch Dogs and Battlefield 4, like a lot of the maps with water, the water's either very dirty and murky, uh, or very choppy and very active, so it wouldn't reflect a whole lot anyway. So it sort of tricks
Yeah.
the player into saying into
Not expecting the
not
reflection.
yeah yeah not realizing that the reflection isn't there. Uh, and so that's just how they get around it. Um,
Yeah, I do have to say this boss, number one, is one of my least favorite bosses ever in any Metroid game, in my honest opinion. Just because I find it's really boring. But like I, the problem that I have with this version of the game and this boss is that your turning sensitivity is turned down so low
hmm.
by default, and I can't figure out how to change it. I don't know, it's just it feels like Japan really got the short end of the stick when it came to this game
Well, I
because
mean,
I
people.
guess they don't like Metroid as much as we do.
That's true. But I mean, you
Like
also have to keep in
they
mind.
never did.
Yeah. You also have to keep in mind though, people in Japan can read Japanese, so they can find in the menu where to turn the sensitivity up.
Yeah, it just always felt like the trilogy controls were more refined.
Hmm.
And as I remember this boss, like the first time I played Metro Prime, and I thought this was hilarious. I rented Metro Prime
Hmm.
from my local game store, and I played it. I got to this boss, and this boss made me say, "I hate this game," and I returned it.
Wow.
And then a year later, I got it back. I'm like, "Wow, this is fun." Yeah, I thought it was kind of funny because I didn't even remember what this game was called at that point. So I just
Wow.
went and picked it up out of a bargain bin, and I'm like, oh man, this game's actually great. I remember it, but I don't understand why I said I hated it.
Hmm. So you have no
By the way,
idea
this
why that boss made you be like, ah, this sucks.
I don't know. Yeah, it's like I always thought it was kind of interesting because these rooms are so off center,
Hmm.
and it's actually really hard to design rooms like that.
Hmm.
Because I mean, like if you look here, it's all twisted and just not. It's not center. It's really weird.
Yeah.
It's it's really it takes more polygons to design a room like that than to design a straight room.
Yeah.
It's definitely kind of interesting. All right, so we just got our second set of missiles.
Yay.
Another set of missiles in there that we can't get right now. Sad face. All
Yeah.
right.
One thing I'd be curious about is how the story is different in Japanese. Uh, because I know a lot of the logs are, I mean, they're different in every version. Um,
Yeah.
and, I've already said in my, again, referencing the video I made about why Retro Studios should not make Metroid Prime 4, like how they changed the story of Metroid Prime between the original release on the GameCube and the trilogy version. Uh, and aside from a plot hole or two, in the original version. I really prefer that one.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Pretty much. This is closer to the trilogy version, to my understanding.
hmm, yeah,
These things are an absolute thorn in the side at the very beginning because they can deal so much damage without even trying.
yeah. Well, I mean, individually they don't deal much, but there's a lot of them.
Yeah, together they deal. I think it multiplies. It must multiply. Now for the easiest section in the game, just missile in between them, and you can take out 2 to 3 at a time pretty easily, or 4.
Yeah, I always liked to save my missiles for the plated beetle that's gonna show up, but later, eventually, I was like, ah, screw it, just use them on this part. And then I found out it's like, oh, I'm actually getting a lot of missile drops.
Hmm. You end up getting so many missile drops that it pretty much just defeats the purpose. Done.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, abusing the missile reload glitch just absolutely just like breaks the game, in my opinion.
Yeah, this must be different than the one. Well, it's not really a glitch so much, but in Metroid Prime you can fire your missiles really fast by as soon as you shoot a missile, hit the regular fire button
Yep,
to close it
it's a
again.
force to reload. It forces the
Yeah,
reload.
yeah, I cannot do it that fast though. So maybe you're just. I
It
mean,
takes a little
maybe
bit of practice.
yeah. I mean, maybe you
By
just
the way,
done a lot more.
there's a whole separate room up here.
Really?
Look at that.
I can't.
See, because
I
like,
can't see it.
oh well, if you look beyond the beams here, there's actually a whole separate room up here. It's kind of neat. Just
Hmm.
just one of the things I I like the game because every single time you play it, you find something new.
Hmm.
I mean, there is that much detail in it to the point where you're always finding something new.
Well, that is if you're looking for it.
That is if you're looking for it. I mean, you could just go through the motions and completely miss everything. But and get rid of that stupid war wasp.
What you really got to get rid of is the hive.
Yeah, but if you get rid of that one, you could just pretty much just run through and there you go, no
So
problems.
fun.
Oh no, I got 1 damage from those scarabs.
Just wait until you get the boost ball.
Yeah. Or just heck, just when you get the Varia suit and they do literally just like scratch damage.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they already mostly pretty much do scratch damage anyway.
Unless you hit all of them.
Yeah. I mean, if you hit all of them, then you're probably screwed.
Yeah, then they do a ridiculous amount of damage. Yeah,
Hmm.
I never liked the Reaper Vines. I always thought that they were just kind of a dumb enemy. I mean, they're kind of neat, but I always thought that they were just rather just unneeded.
I thought they were invincible until I hit them with a charged plasma shot.
Yeah, and that's always, I don't know. It's like, do you think it's more, what's more satisfying? Freezing them and then missing them, or hitting them with a charged plasma shot?
Plasma shot. Easily the plasma shot. I mean, the ice
Plasma shot
breaking
all the way?
sound is really satisfying. I mean, so I like the I'll put it I like the freezing, the shattering sound better when there's a lot of them. So like when you use them in this room in particular, there are a lot of spots where there's just a bunch of shriek bats up on the roof, and when you shoot them with
Uh,
an ice beam shot, the cacophony of shattering sounds is just like yeah.
right there. There we go.
But but otherwise, charged plasma shot all the way. Just hearing that
Holy
incineration.
missiles.
Holy missiles, Batman!
I'm telling you, it's like there is no lack of drops in this game. I think that I don't know. Is it just me, or did the GameCube not have nearly as many drops?
Well, I mean, the shriek bats always drop a lot of stuff, so it could just be that, since those were shriek bats, that's why.
Maybe.
Um,
It's just like I always feel like that there's just like an over excessive amount of drops.
I don't know.
Hey, Stone Toad, I'll come back for you later.
Yeah.
It's like I remember playing this game, and the first thing I thought of is how come they have all these tubes everywhere?
Yeah, that's
I mean,
actually.
I mean, I guess Metro Prime 2 Echoes may have solved it with the kinetic orbs, but then again, what's the purpose of the kinetic orbs?
Yeah. I mean, it's not the Luminoff. I mean, you don't exactly see a whole lot of. Well, I, I guess you really don't see a lot of Luminoff technology. Um,
By the way, war wasps are a one-time scan here. If you don't scan them, you will not complete your logbook.
Yeah, that's actually something I'm really happy about. I recently, I mean, it was a while ago, but I played through the trilogy version of Metroid of all three Prime games, and I got on veteran 100% scans in every game, 100% pickups, 100% scans, and now I never have to scan again.
Yep.
Uh,
That's one thing about the GameCube version that really bugged me. It's like, oh hey, I just beat the game. Oh man, I missed that one scan.
yeah,
Now I have to redo the whole game and scan everything again because I missed that one scan. I mean, I
yeah,
guess it's
well,
worthwhile. I guess it's worthwhile to do it once, but after you do it once, the need to do it again and again and again just kind of disappears.
I did it every single time. I mean, aside from the first time I played through the game, I missed it, and maybe even the second playthrough, I might have missed a scan. I don't think so, but once I knew how to get every single scan, I did it every single time.
Hmm. All right, so just got another missile expansion, and now because I cannot not do this, I'm gonna have to go through and collect all the missile expansions and all of the energy tanks available at this time, just so I can get kind of like a kickstart into the rest of the game. I
Hmm.
always do that just for the fun of it.
I I used to do that, but I got to the point where it's like, I'm good enough at the game. I don't need to. I don't need to get every one that I can as soon as I can get it, because I'm gonna survive either way.
Yeah, I just do that for this portion.
Yeah. Um, well, I will say earlier when you're talking about the tubes and why that tube is there. I mean, sure, the Chozo have the morph ball technology, but the Chozo here aren't supposed to be using technology. So, and
Mhm.
it's something that bothers me about recent game designs in Metro, or the map designs of recent Metroid games, where, like, I mean, you play through Metroid Fusion, there is no way anyone, and I mean anyone, in the entire Galactic Federation who can get through that station but Samus. And I don't mean when it's infested with X-parasites and horrible monsters. No, no, no. I just mean in
Hmm.
general, like every day. Even if the station hadn't had a cataclysmic event uh, with the X-parasites infesting everything and killing everyone, even if that hadn't happened, the only person who could ever go around that space station is Samus, because there is just no way, and there are no other doors. There are no all other pathways beyond the one Samus takes.
Exactly. I mean, like half the areas that are there, it's just like, okay, so I have to use Morph Ball to get through here. I have to use Screw Attack to get through here. This area is only accessible if you go through lava. Who else is going to go through lava?
Who else can go through a superheated area like that?
I mean, I
The,
find it really funny just because of that kind of stuff. I mean, it's just like, okay. I mean, that's again, it's like this situation here is a lot more believable than like let's say the BSL research station.
well, I mean, even in this
I
game,
mean,
there's the incinerator room. There's no way to get in there except through that tunnel.
hmm
Now, you could argue that it's an incinerator room, so it's probably meant for trash. There's no reason to go in there except if they need to do maintenance on the incinerator drone, which actually
but then
doesn't
why
even
is
make.
there?
Huh?
But then again, it's just like I know I look at the furnace and I'm like, okay, well, if no one's supposed to get in there, why is there an energy tank in there?
Yeah. Or the point I was about to make was, why is there an incinerator drone on a Chozo colony where these Chozo are supposed to be rejecting technology?
hmm
I
I
mean, the
mean,
space. No, go
it's
ahead.
rather silly.
Yeah.
I mean,
Uh,
I guess they could be just rejecting their advanced technology, maybe.
I mean, they make it
But I
pretty
think I'm
clear that they're
stretching it a little bit,
rejecting all technology. I thought
which I
so,
think is a
anyway.
little bit impossible.
I mean, it's not
I
impossible.
mean, I guess it's just the way you interpret it.
Hmm.
Because I mean, the way that I understood it is that they were pretty much just taking a step back so they could observe more than, you know, so that they could observe the creatures living on the planet more than, you know, try to push themselves ahead. Because pretty much the Chozo are pretty much a species that had completed science.
I mean, I wouldn't say completed science, but I mean, they were definitely very far ahead. I mean, I would argue it's not so much they were as advanced as any race could get, but more that, they were dying out and just didn't have time to advance further.
Hmm. Well, I believe weren't they? Most term look for de-evolving.
No, they weren't. They weren't
Because I mean,
de-evolving,
because
but
that's what I got from the manga in some parts.
uh, I mean, the way I looked at it, it's not that they were de-evolving, because if they were de-evolving, then they wouldn't have lost their wings. It's more that
Because I mean, I heard that they
it's
were actually kind of regressing in a way.
well, I mean, one of the biggest things they talk about in the manga is how, when they were more warlike, one of the consequences of being more warlike was that they lost their wings. And what I took away from that is more that they, in a way, they altered their own evolution, um, and essentially it would be like if today suddenly children were born with like only one arm, instead of two, and every baby was being born like that. I mean, that would simply be a matter of, our DNA changing and our species evolving to only have one arm. And so that's sort of how I look at it, like, because they didn't really need, like, maybe they just didn't really need their wings anymore, or maybe it was just, their living conditions or just the constant war where, they just, the genetic traits that passed on, that caused them to have wings, just left them. Like, they continued to evolve, but, into something a little more suited for, I guess, for war, which, doesn't involve having big wings that can be chopped off.
Yeah. Which I mean, I don't know. It's like looking at the Chozo in the manga and just thinking, what would these look like with wings?
Hmm. Well, they do in the manga. There is one panel where they show a Chozo in armor with wings.
Yeah. But again, though that was in armor. I mean, like, how would they look like without the armor?
I don't know. That is, I mean, one thing to point out. I mean, probably. I mean, there are other species. Like, I would say, if you're familiar with comic books or you ever watched the Justice League TV show from the 2000s, um, look at Hawk Girl or Hawkman from Justice League Unlimited, and give them a bird head instead, and that was pretty much the Chozo, because in the image they clearly had wings separate from arms,
Hmm.
uh, and the wings they lost,
Yeah.
which sucks for them. I mean, essentially, it seems what happened to the Chozo was they they were really warlike. They lost their wings. At some point, started to wise up and stopped being warlike, but also managed to extend their lifespan to the point where it sort of became unnecessary to they just sort of lost interest in having children essentially, and and at one point suddenly every single living Chozo was too old to have children, and it could simply be that by that point they were more of a spacefaring species, and there just wasn't room on the ships to like facilities and room on the ships to house you know like children and just extra passengers. Or it just could be that they just simply is like they you know I don't want to get too creepy, so I don't want to start trying to talk about like Chozo's sexual habits, but you know, clearly it just was something
Maybe they
that,
just lost interest, you know.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's sort of where I was going. Is like maybe they just lost interest, uh, and then suddenly they're like, oh crap, breeding. That's kind of important. Ah, damn. Hmm. Oops. And then they found Samus, and I'm like, oh, thank God. We have someone we
Yeah, I
can
don't know,
pass
it's
this
just
stuff on to.
I always thought it was kind of weird how, Samus was pretty much created to be part Chozo. You know, how she was changed. I mean, I guess it was also to save her, to save her life, so she could live on Zebes and be trained,
I'm still calling it
to
Zebes.
be a Chozo warrior. But I always pronounced it Zebes. I mean, even before Metro Rhythm, I always pronounced it Zebes. Maybe I'm just the weird one, but I've just always done that.
Hmm. Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, they do say in the manga like they infuse her with Chozo DNA. I mean, not enough to change her appearance, obviously, but basically just so her body will be tougher and be able to survive the harsh environment of Zebes. Which, if Zebes is the Chozo's original home world, like that's where they got that's where they evolved from, and came up as a species, then it would actually kind of make sense that they would they would be warlike, because Zebes is a pretty harsh environment.
Hmm.
The creatures there are not friendly, and there don't seem to be any friendly. I mean, the only friendly creatures you meet in Super Metroid are aliens.
Or the Adakuns and Datoras.
Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
I mean, they.
But I do have to say though, I've always wanted just to walk up and hug a gamer. That's just been like a lifelong dream. I mean, just they look so cuddly. Well, these are Zoomers technically, but
Yeah. Uh, yeah, no, the spikes look so cuddly.
I know, right?
I
I'm
think
pretty sure that would be comfortable.
I think a Metroid would be more interested in cuddling.
I don't know. It's just, the fact that they kind of have a habit of latching onto your face and draining you of your life energy. That just doesn't seem so.
I mean, yeah, cuddling. That's cuddling, man. Jeez, you don't even know what cuddling
Well,
is.
it might feel good for maybe like the first half a
No, it doesn't
millionth of a
feel good at
second.
all at any point in time.
I
I mean,
can
it's
imagine it would probably
incredibly
be a.
painful. I don't know why people like cuddling so much.
I mean, just think about it. What would happen if you had to cuddle a Metroid? I mean, it doesn't sound so great now, does it?
I mean, maybe cuddle it in the way the baby Metroid would cuddle Samus, the one she saved, because it wasn't trying to feed on her. You know, that um, that could be probably pretty nice. I mean, when it saves you at the end of Super Metroid. and starts giving you
Yeah.
energy. It's like I feel like that was sort of like the way like a cat or a dog will like kill something and then bring it to you.
Just like,
You
hey,
know,
mom, look what I found.
it's like hey mom, I got a bunch of energy here, have some.
It makes me wonder if it wasn't something like that instead of like, oh, hey, mom, I'm trying to save you. It's like, hey, mom, look what I did.
Yeah.
I don't know. I always kind of wonder, do Metroids actually like? Because I know they are biomechanical creatures.
Well,
They
I wouldn't
were
say they're
created.
biomechanical, but they were
Well, they
artificially
were,
created.
yeah, they are artificially created, artificially engineered. But one thing that I've always kind of wondered is, do they actually have like sentient thoughts beyond like, oh, hey, let's just go kill? It's like from what we see, they're always seem like, oh, hey, we're just gonna go and feast on things. But it makes me wonder if they actually do actually have some intelligence to them.
I would say yes and no, because in the manga, when the Chozo first bring up the Metroid, um, one of the things I say, it's like, okay, we have the biology down. The next thing we have to do is impart our wisdom onto it, meaning through some means they were actually going to make the Metroid a completely intelligent being, um, meaning that the Metroid and those that spawned from it would essentially be a new race in the galaxy, and one that specifically could combat the X parasites. Um, I mean, long before the galaxy ever even had to deal with them. I mean, obviously, that was the Chozo plan. Like the Chozo
Yeah,
knew about the X parasites on SR-388, uh, and created the Metroids specifically to fight them. Um, but I mean, of course, the manga is a retcon of the original story, which is, a galactic. Originally, the Galactic Federation had just had an exploratory mission on SR-388, discovered the Metroids, were bringing back samples uh, of them, and that ship on the way back was attacked by the space pirates, and that's when the space pirates took them and started using them against the Galactic Federation.
yeah.
And
And then of
they
course, based on that story, Samus was also a guy. So,
well no, because that was actually Samus wasn't actually a guy
well,
in that story.
it
They just
but
they left
the
it.
manual referred to him as
They
a
did
guy.
that. They did that on purpose to surprise
Yeah,
people at the end when Samus reveals herself to be a woman. So I think maybe it's more like in the original story, Samus was keeping her identity a secret. Uh, so you could say that the Galactic Federation didn't really know who Samus was, and her name isn't, you know, isn't exactly feminine or anything. It's not necessarily a female name. So they could have just assumed that this bounty hunter was a guy, and Samus never said anything in order to maintain some semblance of secrecy. Uh, but then ultimately reveals herself to the player at the end. But in interviews, Nintendo has specifically said no, no. They left the manual. They specifically had the manual say he, even though Samus was a woman, so that players would be shocked at the end. Because if they had said she in the manual, that would have given it away, and no one would have been anyone who read the manual wouldn't have been surprised.
and of course back then the manuals were extremely necessary to
Oh
beat a
yeah.
lot of games. So a lot of people definitely read them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Now, I do have to say, I do like the Japanese and trilogy version of this theme more than the American GameCube theme, which, of course, it was looped wrong. The actual music is correct, but they looped it at the wrong spot. So
Uh,
it actually cut out a huge section of the song. which I always thought was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, when playing against this guy the first time, I did not realize that you had to scan the vines.
Oh yeah, I didn't. That
Yeah,
was one of
because
the
when you're
scans
so
I missed early
yeah,
on.
because you're always paying attention to the flagger itself. You're never paying attention to those vines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, little ones blocking the morph ball slots. Ugh.
And of course, they're annoying when you end up when you're walking around in the circle, you end up getting just a little bit too close to them. Just
Mm-hmm.
wham! They definitely don't like you getting too close.
No, no, they're just waiting. Come on, come on. Whoop-a-pa-pow! Sneak attack.
They do quite a they do quite a bit of damage for what they are too.
You know,
Yeah,
honestly,
I love how much the missiles just like spin around and stuff before they actually hit the target. All right, let's see if I can get this first try. There's actually a little bit of a glitch. Nope, I missed it that time.
mm,
But it's weird because once the flagger hits the ground, you know how like when you're in morph ball and you're on the ground, you jump a little bit.
mm-hmm.
If you do a morph ball bomb jump, or if you do a Wiimote, where you flick the Wiimote up, if you jump at that time, it'll pretty much quadruple your jump height.
Oh wow,
He's
interesting.
gonna slam down somewhere to stop this, so he can't get through there. And that's not
Yeah.
going to stop me from shooting that. If I can get the timing right, there we go.
You know, one thing about the little vines is actually, I don't think I ever got hit by them just going around the enemies, or just going around the arena rather. The only time I ever got hit by them was when I went into Morph Ball and tried to go to the bomb slot like too quick,
Let's see
basically.
here. There we go.
Wow.
Just right out of the screen.
It's too bad that's not like particularly useful or anything, but that is kind of cool.
No, it's not. It is cool just to try it.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting, like, why would they have any reason to change the code for Flagra at all? Why mess with that code for the music, the looping, um, you know, or anything?
I don't know. I mean, it is pretty much well known that, the American version is the incomplete version.
Hmm.
Um, okay. I'm like, you're staying up for quite a bit of time, and all the mirrors are up. I'm like, what's going on here? I'm just a little bit confused.
He's like, oh, that
It's,
that doesn't affect me anymore.
I know. I was just thinking, oh no, all the mirrors are up, and he's gonna knock the mirror down, isn't he? That's the one thing I was thinking. All right. I have to say that is one of the most memorable bosses in the game, yet it's one of the easiest.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it really does feel like you did something because now all the waters throughout the Chozo ruins, are now purified and they will no longer hurt you.
Though I have to say, the two most memorable bosses, well,
Thardus.
at least, no, 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 at least the most memorable boss throughout the entire Metroid Prime series, Boost Guardian. I mean, come on.
I
There
wish
isn't.
I can I wish I could reach through my camera and slap you across the face right now.
There. I don't know
I
why. I'm not.
absolutely hate the Boost Ball Guardian.
I know. I don't like the Boost Guardian either. But that has nothing. Liking it has nothing to do with whether or not the fight is memorable. Boost Guardian is the most memorable boss fight in all of Metroid Prime because he's such a bastard. Because he's so rage-inducing, you have to fight him over and over and over, and it just gets ingrained in your mind, and you cannot get rid of it.
See, the problem is, number one, fish. Number two, yeah, that was really cool when I first started playing the game. It's all the fish. But
Mhm.
the thing is that I don't remember the boss fight because I don't want to remember the boss fight.
I mean, I can't help but remember that boss fight. I mean, you knew exactly what I was talking about when I said Boost Guardian. I mean, you're thinking about how that fight goes right now, I bet. So,
Oh yeah.
so you do remember the
Mess
fight.
around the stupid pillars.
And then he destroys them all, and then you're fucked.
Yep, and then it's pretty much just lay bombs and hope to hit him.
Yeah. I mean, he does so much damage, and he's such a bastard. Um,
Alright.
I almost, I kind of wish there was like a reset glitch or like a boss rush mode where you could go through with all of your upgrades and just see how you do.
It's called Gecko Codes.
Yeah, but that's different. I mean, that's cheating to do it. I'm talking about having it built into the game.
Yeah. Alright, well I think we should probably call it for this part so we can go and so we
Yeah,
can
this is
continue on. I mean, we made it through the Chozo ruins. We beat the Flagra, got the various suits. Now we could probably make it through Magmor Caverns. I think probably easily get through the Boost Ball area.
hmm Yeah, I mean, this is gonna be a long one,
Mm-hmm. All
but
right. Well, I guess until next time, we'll see you guys later, and make sure you check out the Metric fan base on Google Plus.
yep. See you later, guys.
Just gonna go through the animation. All right.
You know what you should do? You should have it fade to black right as it's going into Samus's visor.
That's what I do.
Yeah. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go grab a drink and put something away.
Yep. I'm gonna grab a drink as well.
All right, I'll be back.
Wow. Play the beetle literally lasted all maybe 3 seconds.
Ladies and gentlemen, testicles, that is all.
But totally forgot to mention how the Hive Mecha and the Incinerator Drone boss themes are like the most underrated boss themes in the game.
Well, you have this chance now when we start again to mention it.
Alright.
And I think for this point I'm going to make my voice deep and slightly gravelly. What do you think, Matt?
I don't know.
I shall wet the panties of Japanese schoolgirls everywhere.
Alright, I'm gonna start the capture. Not even commenting on it. Alright, top, middle, bottom, bottom, middle, top, top, middle, bottom. Alright. Starting again.
From my perspective,
Yeah,
it does not look at all like you are getting that right.
I know. Well, don't forget I have like a 1 second lag. By the way, the plated beetle went down in under 3 seconds.
Damn.
I just double checked it. Lava caves. Hey, magma caverns. Hey guys, how's it going? This is Matt.
And this is Gilbert.
And welcome to part 3 of the Metro Prime Let's Play. Anyways, so last time we had just went through completed Chozo Ruins and the Flagra. And so now we're going to go and get through our Magmor Caverns and start exploring Phendrana Drifts. And most likely get the boost ball and go through all that stuff.
Matt, perhaps it would be advisable not to spoil the viewers of the events that will happen.
Nonsense, because everyone knows that in a story-based game and etc., you always want to tell the ending at the very first part.
I don't know, Matt. I think people maybe get upset when you spoil the events that are to occur in the future of the content they are trying to enjoy.
Except for, of course, unless the content they are trying to enjoy is not said game, but our awesome commentary.
I don't know.
Anyways,
I do feel
I do
it is...
find it kind of,
No,
I do
go
find
ahead.
it kind of interesting how absolutely boring the area names are for the Japanese version. This area in America is, of course, and I think in Europe as well, is known as the Magmor Caverns. In Japan, it is simply known as lava caves.
I
Because
think
they're caves filled with lava.
I think perhaps the Japanese programmers misplaced the area description with the area name.
Maybe, but I don't know. I don't know, maybe it was just lost in translation? Maybe?
Well, you do have
But
to
then, of
question,
course,
what
I
is
thought
a Magmor?
well, of course, the Magmor is the lava serpent-like creatures that have been actually fairly easy to kill in this game, so. I have a feeling when there's steam on your visor, and when there's condensation on your visor, and you can't see anything. Absolutely amazing. But again, it goes back to tell the amount of detail that's shown in this game.
Do you want to know something silly, Matt?
I guess.
One time when I was playing this game, and I was going into this area here that you're headed into now, I convinced myself that the SAX was after me, and I hid in the corner.
Hmm. It's rather interesting.
Yes, it is difficult to say why I did such a thing. The SAX isn't even in this game. However, this game and Metroid Fusion came out at relatively the same time period. So, that's where the
Yeah.
inspiration came from.
I don't know. It's like I never think of the SAX when I'm in this part. I remember I was in the living room. We had a small TV that I would play the GameCube on because I wanted to play the GameCube when, of course, everyone was watching TV. Because that's how it always happens. And my parents were watching the Star Wars Empire Strikes Back. So I always think about that when I get to this part in the game because I'm like, oh, yeah, for some reason that one time out of the hundreds of times that I've beaten this thing, that's the one time that I always remember for some reason.
Hmm. No,
I
Luke.
don't know why.
I am your father.
Yeah, so it needs to be a little bit more gravelly.
Imagine if that had been Luke's reaction. Oh, why not? No, Luke, I don't think you heard me. I am your father.
Or it could be like the robot chicken reaction. Where Darth Vader just continues going on and on and on and on and on.
And the Force? Well, that's just a bunch of little things in your bloodstream called metachlorians. You know, if you aren't going to take this seriously, I'm out.
Those specials were awesome.
I have them all.
Yeah, it's like this area is so much easier to traverse with the double jump. I cannot wait to get that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. The space jump.
Double jump, whatever.
No, I agree. Calling it the space jump was a little silly, as it does not allow you to jump infinitely, as the space jump previously had.
Yeah, I know. I never really understood that. I'm like, if you're gonna call it the space jump, you might as well just give us the actual space jump, not just an over glorified double jump
I think an appropriate name might have been thruster jump.
or thrust boots or something.
Well, it is the
'Cause, I mean,
thrusters on the back of Samus Aran's suit that activate for the double jump to occur.
but then how come when it shows you gets the space jump, it focuses on you getting new boots?
Because fuck you, that's why.
I said there are a lot of things that I never really understood. Like when I first played through this game, I'm like, why in the world does Samus have those thrusters on her back if she never really uses them?
Yeah,
I
well,
mean,
she uses them for the space jump.
which you never actually see them getting used. Like the only
Well, that's
time that I
because
think
you're in
you've
first
actually,
person.
well, I mean, even in like the 2D games, the only time that I've actually seen them being used, like actually seen them being used, and it might just be because of the lack of detail. The only time that I've actually seen them being used is actually Metro Other Realm with the speed booster.
Well, keep in mind, in the 2D games, the suit actually did not have those thrusters in their design.
Well, it depends. Maybe it did.
It
You
wasn't
just
until
couldn't.
Metroid Prime that the thrusters were added.
Actually, never mind. I guess I don't know. Would you consider the Metro Prime 2 Echoes the? Oh, I can't remember what it's called. Torvis Bog after you beat the Alpha Blog.
Hmm.
What is that
At that
expansion called?
at that
You
point,
know
the
what I'm
scene
talking
at
about, though,
which
right?
the scene at which Samus is lowering or raising herself, that is after obtaining the gravity boost. At which point she gains a
Yeah.
propeller on her back.
Yeah.
I also
Which
feel
then, of course, she uses that with Quadraxis as well.
hmm, also on a personal note, I absolutely hate the gravity boost and what it does. It turns an otherwise pretty cool looking suit into an ugly mess.
Yeah. And then it pretty much disappears for the light suit, but you still have the functionality for some odd reason.
That was a godsend.
It really didn't make any sense, but I'm like, okay.
Well, because
Did
video
I never
games.
dark? I never really liked the dark suit, in my honest opinion. I always thought it looked kind of. I guess I always thought the Varia suit was bulky, but the dark suit
Hmm.
looked even worse.
Well, I feel that the suit design in Metroid, the Samus model for the Varia suit in Metroid Prime 2 was actually superior to the design in Metroid Prime. Simply because if you stare at the Metroid Prime design enough, you realize quickly that there's no way a human would actually fit inside of that suit, and it begins to look awkward the more you look at it. However, the
Hmm.
Metroid Prime 2 Echoes model fixes this problem, and you can clearly see how Samus is fitting inside.
Yes.
The one
Not to
thing that's
mention, of
interesting,
course, the up textures and stuff like that definitely helped.
mhm. The one thing interesting to point out is that Samus actually looks much larger in this original Metroid Prime when compared to her Prime 2 Echoes counterpart. It seems that Samus is actually much smaller in that game.
I am so glad that these things were frozen and nice for this game.
I can't tell what those are.
It's you know the fish, the are they
Oh, the
skullterras? No.
Skullteras,
Yes, they are
the big
skullterras.
purple fish.
Yes.
Hmm.
They're actually frozen in the ice and they're not swimming around.
Hmm.
But I do
I
have to
mean,
say kudos to the references to the older games.
hmm, indeed. Though, one way you can tell that Samus was actually downsized in Metroid Prime 2 Echoes is if you compare her arm cannon in Metroid Prime to the one in Prime 2, you see that the size of the arm cannon hasn't actually changed between games, but Samus's sprite is much smaller, and so the cannon looks that much larger. It's actually quite
Mhm.
jarring.
And then there's, of course, Ridley, just leisurely flying by for no apparent reason.
Hmm.
It makes me wonder if they just put that there to make sure that players don't forget that he's here.
Well, you could argue that he is out on patrol, searching for Samus.
Yeah. By the way, you could shoot these and make them go up.
I see.
Just little things. Just, it's just those little things that you notice that just really make this game good.
Hmm.
Because what makes a great game? When you can shoot stuff and it does things.
It's all in the details, I find.
Hmm. I don't know. I've always thought throw a little bit, throw a little extra shading into Metro Prime, throw on some new textures. I think it would look like a brand new game.
Quite possibly.
We might as well just do this now. No, I can't do this now. What was I thinking? That was a terrible idea. I was just
That's
about to
the
jump ahead, and then I'm like, oh
that's
yeah, I
pretty
don't have the space jump yet. That might help.
Maybe you should have done the boost jump trick in the beginning of the game.
Which is of course impossible in these versions, and I probably should have timed that better. Yeah,
Actually,
it's
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 not
actually
impossible.
Well, it's not impossible. It's just a lot harder as ghetto jumping's been pretty much removed.
Hmm.
I mean, like, I know getting through Magmore Caverns without the Berea suit is now pretty much impossible.
Hmm.
By the way, have you ever seen someone actually do that?
No,
It's
I haven't.
ridiculous. It is absolutely ridiculous watching people, abuse ghetto jumping to actually get through here without the Berea suit. It's definitely an amazing thing to watch.
Well, it begs the question if in the original release of the game, if every area in the Magmore Caverns was superheated or not.
I'm pretty sure it was. Because, I mean, like, how about this? Like, when you go through here without the Berea suit, every single room gives you damage from being superheated.
Hmm.
But you can, with the 3 energy tanks that you're given before the flagger, you can actually make it all the way through Nagmore Caverns with, I think, if you do it right, you'll have 5 health left.
Hmm. Not much. Doesn't leave much room for error.
No, it does not, but it can be done, and it has been done.
Hmm.
Until these games where they boosted the amount of damage that you get.
Hmm. Yes, I will say that's one thing that bothered me about Metroid Prime 3 when I was playing through it. I discovered that I couldn't even sequence break a single missile expansion.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, the only way you can sequence break it, and it's cheating, is using gecko codes, which is pretty much just a tool-assisted run.
Yeah,
Which at that point, it's a lot less fun. Like,
indeed.
I remember on the GameCube version, if this was the GameCube version, I would have the Ice Beam right now.
Hmm.
Because I would have jumped over the wall after getting you know, after getting the bombs, and I would have made my way over and just grabbed the Ice Beam right then and there.
Hmm.
I mean, it's kind of weird because for me, it's almost like trying to play Super Metroid without getting the power bombs right off the bat.
Or just bombs in general.
Yeah, but come on, you have to admit it's more fun to have the power bombs right off the bat. Like going and facing Kraid with no space jump and um, and I lost my train of thought because I was talking,
And a bunch of
but you
power
know what I mean.
bombs.
Yeah, it's always a lot more fun to face them with no space jumps and a bunch of power bombs, and then just relying on wall jumping skill.
If you want to have some real fun, try doing the reset glitch after beating the game and going through the early areas with the plasma, or not, yeah, the plasma beam.
I can imagine that would be fun.
Hmm. Crocomire does not like the plasma beam.
Oh, I can imagine. Definitely not. I wish they would bring that boss back. I really liked him.
Hmm. He was going to be in Zero Mission, but he was removed.
Code's still there, and you can actually use an IPS patcher to just have a special Metroid Zero Mission ROM dedicated to fighting the Crocomire
Hmm. Of course,
with no
Crocomire
sound
does.
effects.
Yeah. Of course, Crocomire does not take actual damage. He simply walks back into lava, which, for some reason, as a creature that appears to be a bunch of lava, he cannot survive.
In lava.
Indeed.
I don't know. Seems kind of problematic to have, I don't know, evolved to live inside an area that has tons of lava and to be heat resistant, but then not be able to live in said lava.
Yeah, it is a bit confusing, and I'm gonna give that up. This part is gonna be too long to keep doing that.
And I don't know, because it's like, we go through that, and it's like, okay, well, we got okay, so we just beat the Crocomire, but then somehow his skeleton can fly.
Hey, look,
Through a
don't
rock floor.
you Question the greatest Metroid game of all time. All right?
No,
Okay?
that's why I question it.
Don't you dare.
And I'm losing my train of thought all over the place. But yeah, I mean, like, it's just always something that I thought was kind of humorous. It's just like, okay, so he flew. It's like, so he died. He's now a skeleton, has no muscle at all. He can swim through the lava and know directly where you are, pop out, roar with no internal organs or anything to make the sound, go through a solid rock floor, and I may have repeated go through the solid rock floor, but and then just fall to pieces, and then you just think, oh, that was cool, and just continue on with
Perhaps,
your life.
perhaps what happens is not an actual roar, but rather after dying, he lets out a final roar while still under the lava, but that air is trapped and, along with his bones, is pushed through a a stream of lava that is constantly flowing and pushed through this current until it comes out to a point where that current is shot up, and thus what you actually hear and see uh, is a skeleton that has been flung out of the lava that
Through a solid
collapses
rock floor.
against the rock on the other side and then collapses on the ground. And the roar you hear is just the last roar that was trapped underneath. That was a bunch of air that was trapped underneath the lava. That once it rose out, you were able to hear it.
If only you could see the look on my face right now. I think we're reading a little bit too much into this.
I'm just saying, if you're
just,
going to
just a
complain about
tad
something
bit.
like that, expect a response that is taking it way too seriously.
Yeah, I
And
guess
as
so.
I said, don't you dare question Super Metroid.
Trust me, there's a reason that I do question it.
Don't you dare.
Because the moment you say it's the best, that becomes the only, that becomes the ceiling. You can't go above that because that is the best. That's why I don't call it the best. I call it a really good game, not the best.
That's not true. It's not true that you cannot top something once you call it the best. It remains the
Well,
best Metroid
don't get me
game.
wrong. Don't get me wrong. It is still considered the best Metroid game. But the problem is like, look at how the Legend of Zelda fanbase works. And I'm going to use the Legend of Zelda fanbase just because that is a prime example. Nothing, and I repeat, nothing is going to beat Ocarina of Time for a lot of
Well,
these fans.
there
I mean,
is.
it's a huge, huge thing in nostalgia. By the way, this has a really cool animation effect in the crystals. You can't really see it in the GameCube as much, but when it gets upscaled, you can see it really well.
Mm,
But I mean, just because it's this first, just because it's the best game at the time, for a lot of people, that's only, it's always going to be the best game.
I feel like the Zelda fan base is a bit more split than that. I don't think Ocarina of Time is hands down the favorite. I think A Link to the
Well,
Past
you
is a
hear,
strong contender, uh, and as is more
definitely.
recently Majora's Mask.
I don't know. It's like I almost feel like a lot of people are liking Majora's Mask not because hey we like Majora's Mask, but because it's starting to become cool to like Majora's Mask. Especially because I am part of the Zelda fan base on the Google Plus, and every single time I go on there, they're like, "Don't let Ben drown you." From the stupid creepy pasta. And I'm like,
Yeah.
really? I'm just like, is this the only reason why you guys like Majora's Mask? Because that's whenever they talk about Majora's Mask, it's always don't let Ben drown you or something. I'm just like, you know, can we, I don't know, just talk about the game maybe? What a bunch of
Yeah.
nonsense.
Still, either way, I don't think simply by labeling a game as the best one uh, of what's currently available makes it the best forever. And don't get me wrong, I would love to see a Metroid game that's better than Super Metroid. It's just, despite all the games they've made since Super Metroid, they have not managed to top it.
Hmm.
And a big reason
Metro
for
Prime,
that,
Metro Prime, really close.
it does, but as I've said 100 times before, that's because this game is so heavily based on Super Metroid.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, just from beginning to end, it's Super Metroid all the way, um, except 3D and without the ability to explore at will. I mean, it's
By the
funny.
way, this this right here, this room earns the most pointless room in the game award in my book.
Yeah,
That one back there, that hallway, I thought that that was just the most pointless room ever.
mm. that's actually
Now for the fun part.
that's actually one of the things that makes this game less, not as good as Super Metroid for me. It's like there are a lot more pointless places to go in Super Metroid, and that makes it feel like a more real world. Like this is a place that could actually exist. Because in the real world, you would have a lot of pathways that just lead to nothing. You know, the Metroid
Mhm.
Prime games are far more restrictive on where you can go and what you can do when you compare it to Super Metroid or the original Metroid, um, both of which have the most open exploration of any of the Metroid games. Uh, I mean, Metroid Prime, every area has a purpose. Whether it's a hallway leading to a boss, you know, there's no path you're going to
Sweet.
go where
All
there's just going
palm
to be
punches
nothing.
so his body rust.
Wow, that was quick.
Yep. Well, we are playing on easy, so.
Yep, yep.
Yay, and I just got an orange credit.
You know what? You know what? Maybe we should learn to read Japanese.
I have considered it. I have considered learning how to read, possibly speak Japanese, just because, it is, especially in the field of gaming, it's going to be a very important,
Hmm.
um, language to learn because, it's a very important culture in gaming at the moment.
Hmm. Indeed.
And of
And
course, with technology and stuff like that, they're definitely getting far ahead. So,
yeah, and it's something I've wanted to do for a while, and I've made several attempts, but never made much progress. But I would really love to learn to read and speak Japanese. Uh,
and I may or may not want to learn Japanese just so I can watch anime without without subs.
Honestly, that is part of my motivation, and not necessarily because I don't like reading subtitles, but more because if I can understand it, then I don't have to wait for subtitles to come out. You know,
Yeah, you can just watch it.
I can download high quality RAWs and just sit back and enjoy.
Hmm.
Though I
Which
will
would
say,
definitely be nice.
yeah, there once was a cable network that was just like all like Japanese or foreign television, and at like 10 or 10:30 p.m. on a Sunday, they were airing Dragon Ball Z in Japanese with no subtitles. And so I watched Dragon Ball Z in Japanese with no subtitles. And I I mean I'd already seen it in English, of course, but I hadn't exactly seen the series tons of times, but it's like you watching a series like that, you
Okay,
pretty
okay.
much know what they're saying.
we got the elusive ice shrink bats that
Uh,
only that are only here for like this one time, and if you progress any further and save, you will not be able to scan them again. I
I've
always
actually
thought
found.
that was the dumbest scan in my opinion, just because they appear for that one time,
Mhm.
pretty much.
I will say I have never once missed the ice shriek bats, even on my first attempt through. But actually, what you just said isn't really true. They are there another time when you
Hmm.
pass through there.
I think once you beat the Thardus,
Hmm.
then they just
Yeah, it's a
which
certain
pretty
boss you beat
much
it, and then they're gone.
which pretty much here, once you get to this point, you don't have to go back until you beat the Thardus.
Hmm.
So, I mean, yeah, it's definitely one of those things.
Another one to be wary of is the ice parasites, who also they're even worse. They are once you kill them, they are gone.
Yep,
The ice parasites, they really are like that. Once you've killed them, they don't show up ever again. Uh,
which is really dumb.
yeah, but there are two rooms with ice parasites in them.
Hmm.
It's two hallways, but still. So they're even worse than the ice streak bats in that way, because they just if you kill every single one and didn't scan them, then you're not scanning them.
Yep, and it's just like, oops, I guess I got to start over if you're playing the GameCube version.
Hmm.
And I do have to say, I love that about the trilogy version is that they had that where you rolled over scans.
Hmm.
All right, now I
Um,
gotta try making my way all the way back over there.
one thing you
Really
can
slowly.
do in the original GameCube version, since you can sequence break the plasma beam very easily in the GameCube version, uh, there's a missile expansion deep in the Phendrana Drifts on the way back. It's in the room with the gravity suit. There's a missile expansion where you have to destroy a whole bunch of
Hmm.
ice, blocking a grapple point.
Isn't it blocking your grapple point? Yeah.
Yeah, and unfortunately, if you uncover this grapple point and leave the room, you can never use that grapple point again. There's a weird glitch where you can only actually use it the first time after you uncover it, and if you don't use it then, you can't use it ever again.
Hmm.
And I actually screwed myself. My first real attempt at a 100% run, I had sequence braked the plasma beam, gotten the gravity suit, and broken that ice, and without having the grapple beam. And I had no idea that this glitch was
Oh,
there.
jeez.
And so I left, and I went on with the game. I had 99%. Went back to that room, and that's when I found I had no way of getting that missile expansion. And I tried doing the triple bomb jump or whatever, where you can jump like 5 times or something and get a bunch more height.
Yeah, you
Was
wouldn't
not
get to it
happening.
even.
Nope, was not
Yeah,
happening.
that sucks.
Had to restart the entire
Yeah, I
game.
think we should. Yeah, I think we should probably call it for this part. So,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I mean, we definitely covered a lot of ground in this part,
Yep.
and I think the next part we could probably make it through and actually kick some space pirate butt. So,
Yep. Samus
yeah, if
Aran,
you guys are
ground
interested,
coverer.
yep. All right, so yeah, if I think you guys are interested, please check out the Metroid fanbase on Google Plus. It's definitely a great place to talk about Metroid. All right, well, until next time, this has been Matt,
This has been Gilbert.
and we'll see you in the next part.
Indeed.
All right.
Yay! Oh,
Now to reset the game again.
you might want
Yay!
to replace the batteries in your Wii remote.
Nah, these ones aren't a normal Wii remote. They'll last for a while.
If you're sure.
If it was a Motion Plus, I would completely agree with you.
Mm.
All right. Let's make sure everything's going all right here. Just to make sure it's recording fine.
Man, I hope it's recording fine.
Yeah, it looks like it is.
Yeah. You know, I will say one option uh, we do sort of have for these, if you wanted to make, I mean, if you wanted to not use your recording device because you weren't confident in it, and instead just we could stream it to Twitch and just download the Twitch archive to put up on YouTube later. Oh,
Yeah.
that's a lot louder. The thing is that would be tricky is one of us would have to watch the stream while you made adjustments because um, you have to. I mean, you have to like way turn down the game audio. I mean, the weakness would be that there wouldn't be both. Well, it'd be both a strength and a weakness. On the one hand, you wouldn't have to really edit it much at all. Maybe chop off the beginning and end, and if you want to add like titles and endings, you could do that. But otherwise, there wouldn't be much you could do to the main, to the rest of it. So it'd be very minimal editing. Of course, the weakness of that is also that it's very minimal editing that you can do anyway. Like, if there's a problem with the levels, you can't fix that later.
Yeah. Oops.
So we would basically
Yeah,
have to get the levels right.
We're at 8 gigs right now at 1 hour and 31 minutes of raw footage.
Damn. The hell are you recording that in?
It's their nice proprietary format.
I see.
Yeah,
Man.
but actually it's an M2TS file, which is pretty high quality lossless, but it's their format.
Yeah. See, that's a nice thing about recording with my HD PVR on the Mac is that the application I use automatically converts the .m2ts into an MP4 file with H.264. It's pretty great.
So it'd be pretty small. All right, well, I think we should probably start the next part.
Before we do that, I'm going to refill my chocolate milk.
Okay.
I'll be right back. And I'm back.
Alright, let's see, we're going to start the capture. Left,
Hello,
right,
ladies and gentlemen.
left,
Welcome
right,
back to Let's Play
right.
Metroid Prime. What? See, I told you.
Well, see, it's
I
because you took
told
so
you
long.
so.
It's because you took so long.
Uh-huh. Man, you should be thanking me. It's a good thing I took so long, because if I hadn't, we just started back up, this would have happened in the middle of recording.
Oh yeah, that would have been fun. Yay.
Ah, dude, come on, man.
I need to recharge my batteries.
Slap some fresh batteries in there.
That's if I have some fresh batteries. We might have to call it and then I go get some fresh batteries.
This is why, like, I've got some third-party rechargeable batteries
Left,
that are
right,
pretty
left,
great.
right, left, right. Well, these are rechargeable batteries. I just forgot to charge them.
Well, they're like battery packs. I don't know what you have.
No, mine are just rechargeable double A's.
Yeah. See, I'm talking about actual like battery packs made for the 3DS or the 3DS, made for the Wii remotes.
Ice Valley. I love that voice.
Ice Valley.
Hey guys, how's it going? This is Matt.
And this is Gil.
And welcome to another part of our Metroid Prime Let's Play.
This is
Now,
part
in the last part...
4?
What is this, part 4?
Or 5?
Yeah, this would be part 4.
Okay.
Yep, last part we went through and pretty much did everything to get the boost ball, space jump, and the wave beam. So now we're just going to go and assault a small space pirate base. They weren't even really doing anything. We're just going to come in here and just start blowing stuff up for the fun of it.
Oh, no, not really doing anything at all. You know, just maybe experimenting with an illegal mutagenic compound and Metroids.
Yep.
Yeah, just a small pirate base, nothing important.
I love how we just kind of like, and I love how it's just like, okay, we weren't ordered to take it down. It's just we just kind of happened upon it.
Well, none of this was ordered. Samus just got the distress signal from the space pirate frigate, and didn't even know it was a space pirate distress signal, and showed up, and oh, it's a space pirate distress signal, and just sort of does it. I guess out of pure hatred? I don't know.
I just love for the fact that it's just like, okay, well, see, we just happened upon the space pirate base. You know, let's just destroy it. Yeah, I actually do find it. I kind of find it ironic that they go and they send out a distress signal, and who picks up the distress signal? Their worst enemy.
Well, I mean, it still is interesting that this entire game is Samus doing some pro bono work for the Galactic Federation. And it's like, oh yeah, by the way, there's some space pirates over here. I took care of that for you, no charge. It's like, wait, what? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you think about it, it really doesn't make sense. Like, why? I mean, I get that Samus has a deep, seething hatred for the space pirates, but I still feel like she would say, "Hey, Galactic Federation, there are space pirates here. Want me to take care of that for you?"
You got a contract, you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like, let's get some numbers going, huh? How much is this gonna, how much you willing to shell out for this?
I guess it kind of goes back to kind of her philosophy on that kind of stuff, because the reason, and I think it all comes down to the reason why she fights the space pirates. It's not to make a profit. It's not to do anything like that. It's actually just to make sure that no one else that she cares about, or that no one. I think she said that so that no one else that she loves has to die, or that no one has to go through what she had to go through.
Except her first for-profit mission is to fight the space pirates.
Yes. Well, I'm pretty sure that if they
And your
offer
second one.
compensation, she'll. I'm pretty sure that if they offer compensation, they'll take it.
Well, I mean,
But you know what I mean.
it's funny. I mean, in the
But
manga,
I love this hallway because you get to really learn the proximity of these things.
mm,
It's fun.
yeah, interesting.
I'm messing with you.
uh, I mean, one thing that it's interesting how much they ruined Samus's character in Fusion when they actually did a decent job of fleshing out her character in the manga. It's like
Hmm.
Samus Samus is kind of a bit of a hypocrite, I guess. It's like she values life unless that life really, really pisses her off. You know, it's like there are these like moth things she meets
Oh yeah.
on
Yep.
Zebes, and she's like, "Oh, hey, these guys are great. Oh, they're so nice." Blah blah blah, and she shows the Chozo, and the Chozo are like, "Oh fuck!" And so they send the robots to exterminate them. And she's like, "Oh my god, what are you doing?" And she like sees the moth things have guns. It's like, "What the fuck are you doing with guns?" And she takes the guns from them and destroys the guns. And like, there, see, you don't need guns. Blah, blah. Um, and then the robots take him out anyway, and it's like, no, no, But then
And
it's
then
like
she
with
goes and
Space Pirates, she's
destroys the
like, you
robots.
killed my family, now you must die.
I mean, it's just like I I don't know. It's just like it always in these kinds of situations. I mean, I'm always kind of the pacifist. You know, I want to find a peaceful solution to this kind of stuff. I just look at these kind of scenarios where it's just like, okay, well, you know, there are these two people that really hate each other, and I kind of want to go down to the base. Like, I'm just not sure. Could the space pirates really? Could they be agreeable on anything? Because like the whole
Uh,
reason why Samus does not like them is because because they raided K2L trying to get the power source from that,
yeah,
the explosive material that they
whatever
had. I
energy
can't
they
remember
were
what it's called,
mining, something.
but the extremely volatile explosive substance.
I don't know if it was a volatile explosive. I mean, obviously it was
It
explosive,
was
but I don't know.
well,
I mean, it was an energy source.
obviously.
It was an energy source, whatever. Uh, but I mean, it's not just that they raided K2L. It's that they kinda ate her family.
Like literal, and not to mention, I believe in the Super Metroid manga, didn't Ridley point the fact out that he ate her mother?
Well,
They
in
like
the
just to be a douche, didn't you do that? Like,
in the manga before just before Fusion, like I don't know about the in the Super Metroid comics and Nintendo Power, but in the manga, I think it's like between Fusion and Zero Mission. I don't know when the Metroid manga came out, but that's yeah. Ridley points out that he ate her. Well, he doesn't specifically say he ate her parents. It's more like
he
uh,
implies it.
well, he says, "Do you know what I had to do to survive?" And and he's like, "Do you know what I had to eat to survive?" He's like, "Flesh." And he goes off in this thing. He's like, some it's like some of it was probably your parents. And then he's like, I wonder. And he's like looking around his body. He's like, are they here or are they over here? And Samus just freaks the fuck out and goes, "Kill me!" Because she can't take it, and just wants to die at that point.
I do have to say though, I think in the next Metroid game, Ridley should talk.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't hate that necessarily. I mean, again, I don't necessarily have a problem with Samus talking or there just being voice acting in general in really any of Nintendo's franchises. Um, I mean, I do think when Samus talks should be an appropriate time for her to talk. Like for example,
Not like Metroid Other M where she's monologuing everything.
yeah, I mean, she should be. I mean, she should probably be silent for most of the game. Well, I mean, there are certain spots where she's just sort of like mumbling to herself. She's like, "Huh, Galactic Federation, huh?" And, I mean that was fine. But I mean, a lot of people do that, though. As a bounty hunter, well, I mean, in that situation, it's fine. But if she's going to like the dangerous planet, she should probably keep quiet. So, like, if she's in an enemy territory, she probably shouldn't be saying anything. But I mean, if there's like another character, she's talking to him, that's fine. So mostly, like, most of her dialogue, I feel like, would be at the beginning and end of the game. It's like, hey, Samus,
Hmm.
we want you to go do this. Oh, you want me to go do that? Well, that's gonna run you blah 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 blah. Let me run some numbers here. Doot, doot, doot. Yeah, that's gonna run you about this much. And they go,
Oh man,
can you maybe cut us a secret
favorite part
discount?
of the game right here.
Oh, yeah.
When everyone has their first introduction to Metroids, no matter what, it's always an extremely special moment. And
Mhm.
this game is where most people got introduced, and they introduce it in such a nice way.
Yeah.
Because you go up, you scan it, you're like, oh, okay, so that's a Metroid. It doesn't, that doesn't look too harmful. I mean, it looks actually
Well, I
kind of
mean,
cute. Oh my gosh.
it's more like it doesn't look too harmful. It's like it's in there, and I'm out here.
And then
Oh
of
crap!
course
It's
it
out.
goes, and then oh wait, you gotta do this. I always have to overkill that guy.
But yeah. Um, I what was I saying? So, but I mean, yeah. So Sam, I'm fine with Sam's talking, so long as it's appropriate for the situation. I mean, the monologuing was not great. Um, and I
Well,
just
it's
in
just like
general.
it the the writing and stuff was just kind of bland.
Yeah.
So it's just like it made overall the. I hate to say that it could have been done right because I think the monologuing was just completely unneeded.
Well, I mean,
Like,
Metroid Other M could have been done right. It wasn't done right by
yes,
any stretch of any stretch of the imagination. But
well, in a way, I mean that's going a bit too far in my opinion because I think like the main plot that they had, like the main plot on what was going on in the bottle ship and all that, that had potential.
mhm,
You have to admit it did have potential, and
yeah.
it could have been really interesting the way they did it. But the problem is that I know I have a friend who's currently playing through Metro Rim, and he explained, he thought that the overall feeling of the past part just kind of felt shoehorned.
Mhm.
I mean, I'm like, if they had not included the whole, we'll see, this is, my past feelings on Adam, and if they just went like, oh, hey, Adam's here, you
Yeah.
know, I think it could have been a lot better.
Well, I mean, I feel like they introduced the Adam character in Fusion, and the way Samus talked about him, he had died a long time ago. He had died. It had been quite a while since Adam died, but they have him alive in Other M, and I think that's part of where Other M fails in terms of the grand scheme of Metroid lore. Is that he, his death is much more recent to Fusion, and than Fusion implies, and just the way Samus talks about him in Fusion is not. He is not someone who died, within
Like
the
last
last
year,
year. I mean, he's been dead for several years at least. It's not. I mean, I think it would have been more appropriate if he had not been in Other M at all, and and he had in fact died, had like maybe been the reason for Samus leaving the Galactic Federation. Adam dies on the last mission she goes on for them as one of their
for the Galactic
soldiers,
Federation Army or something.
and yeah, and that's when she decides to like possibly even at the encouragement of Adam, like with his well while he's dying, he's like you can do, like him telling her you can do more as as an outside element uh to help than as part of the Galactic Federation army. Um,
Yeah,
but
it's just like I always thought it was just kind of weird. I mean, in some ways, it makes sense
mhm,
because I mean, Sam going there with the bottle ship still fresh in her mind. They were propagating Metroids and all that stuff, and that's really the reason why Adam died.
mhm,
And then to see this happening again on the BSL research station, that can really validate the reason why she's upset,
mhm.
with the Galactic Federation on the BSL station. But even with that, it still just feels kind of weird.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I mean,
I
I'm
would
not I'm
say,
not going to go as far as like a lot of sensationalists will with the Metroid series and say, "Well, oh no, Metroid Other M means the end of the Metroid franchise." And no, I'm not going as far as they are to say that because as you know, the game sold over 1 million copies.
mhm,
I mean, it for a while was one of the faster selling Metroid games. I mean,
yeah,
it was flashy, and it also got a lot of people into the series.
yeah.
Which
I
then,
think,
yeah, they may have not liked Metroid Other M, but they did maybe try the Metroid Prime trilogy
mhm,
because of that.
yeah. I mean, I would say Other M is a game that is very trailer friendly. I mean, the trailers for Other M were
We're awesome.
incredible and really, really hyped up the game.
Hyped it up
And then
way
you
past expectation.
and then you
Hyped it up
actually
way,
yeah, and then
yeah,
you
'cause,
actually
like,
play the game and you're like, oh. Um,
yeah, it was kind of like the Watch Dogs for Nintendo. It's like they hyped it up so much that it's kind of hard to get past. By the way, kind of
yeah.
interesting. You see the ceiling stuff, right?
Mm, yeah.
You know how when you fire your charge beam, you know how it distorts the visuals around it.
Hmm.
You can actually peel
Huh.
the ceiling
Interesting.
from the hologram using that.
Yeah. That's
Again,
interesting.
one of those minor things that I kind of noticed you can try.
Yeah. Um, I will say it's like as bad as Other M and Fusion did of fleshing out Samus's character. I mean, it's funny because the manga did a much better job of that. And I know I was talking about this before, but it's just, I mean, like I said, the manga sort of makes Samus out to be a hypocrite. It's like she cares about, protecting life, but at the same time, you know, would
She gets easily
would
upset.
murder in cold blood a space pirate and his family, uh, you know, slowly
E-
and as slowly and as painfully as possible.
and that's
Uh,
the thing. Even if it had nothing to do with the K2L, incident. I mean, like I've always kind of thought, Samus is kind of like one of those characters that, like, kind of let the revenge kind of consume her a little bit.
mhm.
I mean, and I think that's good because it makes her have imperfections. It makes her more relatable. And
Yeah,
that's good as a character
yeah,
to have those imperfections.
I mean, in the manga, she's clearly flawed because she just has this tormented past. And I mean, the problem, I mean, ultimately, I don't think the space pirates will ever have any redeeming factors, simply because even though they managed to become a spacefaring species, they're still, the manga makes it clear that the space pirates are a submissive species because like I said, they're very insect-like, and as I mentioned before, they're more akin to ants than they are mantises because Wrigley they basically spell it out where the space pirates, um, they stopped their attack on Zebes because of Mother Brain and her the power of Mother Brain's mind. Like they will completely listen to a dominant, a more dominant personality. And when they attacked K2L, that dominant personality was Ridley. Ridley was, the leader of the space pirates. And then when they got to, Zebes, suddenly Mother Brain is a much more dominant personality than Ridley, even to the point where Ridley, you know, Ridley, I can kind of imagine how that went. Ridley like internally being like, well, shit, this is bullshit, and then just being like, well, there's nothing I can do, and if I try to fight them, even though I'm stronger than all of them, individually, if I try to fight them, this is not going to end well for me. So I don't have any choice, but I'll just go along with it, whatever. Uh,
I mean, and Ridley still has a lot of power within the Space Pirates.
mhm, yeah,
He does quite a bit. I mean, he is second in command,
yeah.
with Kraid following in third,
Well,
which
Platinum.
he has not really made a huge impact on Metroid lately.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately Ridley is more the second in command, though. In the manga, Platinum Chest was more of the second in command until it's revealed that he's actually just sort of playing along until he can thwart Mother Brain's plans. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do strongly feel that the Metroid universe could be fleshed out much more, but I don't think it can be fleshed out so long as Samus is the only main playable character. Because
It's kind of hard to say that because I mean, it's like it makes it difficult because how do I put it? Like it's like not having Link as the playable character in The Legend of Zelda.
well,
I mean,
I'll put it this way.
it's something that makes Metroid, but
Let me.
on the other hand, I really don't want to include more characters like Metroid Other M style because that takes away from the I'm alone, isolated feel.
Yeah. So
I mean, maybe a
let me.
spin-off game, like not a main, like not like
Yeah.
one of the main Metroid titles.
Yeah, well, that's an idea I've mentioned on the Metroid fanbase community, and no one. I mean, everyone was like, "Oh, no, that's a dumb idea." Bleh. I got no support when I mentioned the idea of like a spin-off game starring, someone other than Samus. But I mean, let me put it in perspective. You mentioned Legend of Zelda. Link is Link introduces players to a world, not even an entire world, but a single kingdom in a world. Uh,
Mhm.
and so it's very easy to tell the story of that kingdom through a single character's eyes. Metroid, on the other hand,
Is an
is
entire
an
universe.
entire galaxy, and you simply cannot tell the story of an entire galaxy through the eyes of a single bounty hunter. You need more perspectives than Samus. And it's funny. People, the same people who said my idea for a spin-off Metroid game starring like Galactic Federation soldiers or something was dumb and they never wanted to see that. Uh, and yet at the same time, those same people are like, we need more representation of Metroid in Smash Brothers. And it's like,
Mhm.
seriously?
The,
You're gonna
the thing
say,
is, the thing is, here's the thing. Um, and I don't mean to say anything bad about the Metroid fan base in any way, but like I always feel that like the Metroid fan base has always been like when they want one specific thing, they want one specific thing. Like it's not that they want more representation in Smash Bros. It's that they want Ridley in Smash Bros. I mean that's the thing. They could
well,
put Adam in Smash Bros. And everyone would not be very happy about it
yeah,
because people want Ridley in Smash Bros.
well, that's because people don't want to be reminded of other M. I mean,
But
no
I
one
mean,
wants.
but that's the thing though. What other characters do we have? Arc
Well,
Samus? It could be a clone of Samus.
I mean, that's just it. You
Who's
know,
already
that's why we need
who's already an assist trophy?
that. I mean, that's why we need more. We need Metroid games. Perhaps made by second-party developers. Not necessarily made directly by Nintendo, but Metroid games that don't star Samus. And I mean, that's one of. I feel like the reason Other M came out the way it did is because if you compare Other M to a lot of other games that were popular both around the time Other M was being made and came out, and even today, Other M is very similar to a lot of those games that have been coming out, um,
Yeah, it
and
has.
and
It's
those are
like,
the ones that have been very popular, and that's why Other M
mhm.
came out the way it did.
I mean, it's like the way I look at Metroid Other M, it feels like it looks like Metroid, but it doesn't feel like Metroid.
Hmm.
Like it's just like when people say like, "Oh man, I want a Mass Effect style Metroid game." I look at Metroid Other M sometimes. I'm like, I feel like this could have not been far off.
Yeah, and I mean, and
I mean,
ultimately
because
it isn't.
it's highly cinematic, very flashy
Hmm.
stuff that you know Metroid just never was and is not.
Well, I mean, Metroid can be flashy,
It can.
just
I
not
mean,
just not in
Metroid
the
Other M.
same. Just not in the same way.
Yeah, I mean, like Metroid Other M's gameplay, which
Hmm.
I would say is probably the best aspect that that game has. I mean,
I
if
mean,
you're
it's
gonna
the
play
highlight of
it,
the game.
oh yeah, I mean, like that's the thing. Like, if you're gonna play it for the gameplay.
Hmm.
Um, I mean, minus like if we're gonna take out like the first person aspect, because everyone knows that that was just shoehorned in to make the people that only played the Metro Prime trilogy feel a little bit more welcome. Um, I mean, Sakamoto himself even said that.
And it was, of course, the worst part of the gameplay.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Um,
I mean, for the fact that Sakamoto even said it was just added to make the players that played the Prime trilogy feel more at home, that
mm,
says something.
yeah,
Um, but I don't know. I have higher hopes for the Metroid franchise now that we have new eyes on it.
yeah,
I mean, looking at we have two new developers. I mean, we haven't really. I haven't heard of anything they've done personally, so I mean, I don't know if they've worked on anything in the past or if this might just be like the first project that they're working on, as a directing team. But
yeah.
it I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what they have to offer. Because I mean, getting new eyes on it, yeah. Because I mean, it is worrisome to think, okay, what's going to change.
Hmm.
But then, I guess it's the same thought that came when people were worried about Metroid Prime, and then we got
Yeah,
Metroid Prime, and it came out with critical acclaim.
yeah. Well, I mean, I think Metroid's problem since Super Metroid has been that that they did change. And I'm not saying like change, not trying to say that change is a bad thing, but rather that they rather than taking what they had with Super Metroid and
And then with
developing
Metroid
that
Prime.
formula further and evolving it, they scrapped it entirely and came up with a completely new formula. And
Hmm.
that's where Metroid began to have problems. It's like they didn't build off what they had created. They said, "Wow, that building's really high. Let's build another building over there. Let's start a new building over there and make it shorter." Uh,
I don't know, because I mean, like, you know, it's because I look at like Metro Prime 2 Echoes. Metro Prime 2 Echoes has a lot of aspects from Metro Prime. It's a lot of the exploring, the isolation and stuff like that, where it's like, okay, I can see where this is still on that Super Metroid base, but they're trying to explore the more story, oriented gameplay.
Mhm.
But then you have Metroid Prime 3 Corruption, where I'm like, okay, it feels like I'm playing Halo, Haloroid or something, you
Yeah.
know, where it's just like, you're in constant contact with the Galactic Federation. Even when you turn the hint system off, they keep on nagging you. It's
Mhm.
linear. The puzzles
Yeah.
are really boring. There's nothing to those puzzles.
Yeah. Well,
Hey,
because
you guys, pump the Wiimote.
yeah, I doubt the teenage boys playing Metroid Prime 3 needed any practice with that. But you know, uh, I mean, yeah, I mean, my biggest problem with Metroid Prime 2 is actually how similar to the first Metroid Prime it feels. It makes
Mhm.
playing it directly after Metroid Prime a chore, like even more so than normal, because it's like, okay, this is the same gameplay, but
Same
areas that
gameplay.
are kind of boring.
A lot of the AI is exactly the same.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
just do the
exactly.
renders on it.
Yep.
You have the collect the 10 bear ass quest. Um, you only have to do that in every single area.
Well, you
And
might
then
as
they
well.
go
They might as well have made it so you needed to go back to UMOS every time, and he'd come back and he'd have a exclamation point over his head, and he said, it's like, Samus, I'm glad to see you've returned. I need 10 more wolf fangs.
pretty much.
Yeah. Um.
I
So.
don't know. It's just I just don't like the direction that it took, and I really want to continue this conversation in the next part because it's definitely an interesting one.
Hmm.
But it's going on a little bit lengthy, so we probably want to call it.
Yes, indeed. I don't have a timer. I have no
All
idea
right.
how long these are going.
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to, that's why I'm
So
keeping
check
track.
out
Um,
check out the Metroid fan base community on Google Plus.
yeah,
There you can
and
chat.
yeah, we'll be back in the next part, and yeah, we're definitely gonna get a lot further. So, all right, so this has been Matt,
And Gilbert.
and we'll see you later.
Bye.
Oh yeah, because I really do want to continue this conversation.
Hmm.
So before we forget any of it, I'm just gonna go and double check and make sure this is going all right. Yeah, recording looks all right.
Hmm.
All right.
Good. Good. Oh
Well, that's my
boy.
last set of batteries.
Oh Jesus, man.
Yeah, so I think we're probably gonna have to call it now, but yeah, I guess we're gonna have to continue recording later.
Oh, so much for that conversation.